Hi, Alma. We're here for the fourth session, sorry,
Session.
about handling setbacks. And we've just talked about sessions 1 and 2. We talked about how to navigate that in-betweeny stage. You're in corporate and you have this driving desire to do something else, but you're doing very well in your job. So do you give up what you have to pursue this dream that may not turn out to be anything, or do you keep in your lane and continue on that corporate journey and never find out what that idea could have amounted to? So we covered that, and then how the last session we talked about how you address loved ones, so how you get the support of those around you, because once you've made the decision, it's often even more daunting to try and get the support of those around you. So this session is moving on from that. So, Alma, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. Hey everyone, Alma here with Rachana. And yes, today we're talking about handling setbacks and how do we deal with things when they don't go as planned, right?
And Alma, this is once you've decided you're going to pursue those dreams, right?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you've made
Yeah.
that decision, right?
Yes, you made
Yeah.
the decision, you're all in, you got the support that you wanted because you followed last session's strategy, right? Ati, you felt complete, your loved ones responded exactly as you wanted them to, and everybody's happy, right? In an ideal world,
Or
right?
they're not, and you did it anyway.
Exactly. So now that you're all in, you are about to face setbacks, right? We all do in everything, right? And this is setbacks such as rejection or lack of support or lack of financial gain, right? So how do we handle that? How do we stay resilient despite those setbacks? So, Rachana, for you, I'm sure you've experienced one or three of these
Many,
setbacks.
many. I experience, everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
There are days where I'm like, what am I doing? And there are days where like I'm woohoo, I just love this and this is great. So it's part of life. And the more setbacks you have, the better you are at dealing with them. It's all I can say. The bar is really low now. No,
It's like riding a roller coaster.
right? You're like, okay, I'm having a good one. But setbacks are part of growth, and I know that sounds so cliche. It is cliche, but it's so true. It's once you actually absorb that, and I've people say it, but they don't actually absorb it. Once you actually absorb it and go, okay, this isn't going to plan, this isn't great, but what
Mm-hmm.
did I take from this? What can I take from it? And you actually do that process, not just like, oh, it's a setback, oh, it makes me stronger and whatever. Just do the
Right.
process. Then I think that's where the momentum shifts, because again, you take out the personal nature of it, and you're
Mhm.
just deconstructing it to being very factual. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. And that's when you can begin to really excel. And that happens in anything, and like anything you do. That's why we get stuck in a rut, is we think we think, oh, we've got this. The moment you think you've got this, in my opinion, is when you really haven't. Like, you need to step back or just drop it altogether because you're too complacent. So
Yeah.
that's the way I see it now, but I certainly didn't see it at the start. I certainly didn't. I was like, doing it should not be this hard.
Yeah.
It's not that, you know, it should not. Maybe this is a sign from the universe telling me, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the key here, Alma, I think, is, and I was talking about, I feel like I talk about this a lot, is we have this idea that quitting is a terrible thing. Because what do we say? Quitters are never winners. And
Yeah.
here's my thing. I think that's so off. Because if something's not working, you need to quit doing it. and pivot, because
Yeah.
you keep doing the same thing. It's the definition of insanity, isn't it? But we've got it all wrong. It's like quitting is a bad thing. No, if it's not working, quit and pivot. Right, that goes hand in hand. You quit the things that don't work and you pivot and lean into the things that do work, or should work, and that's the only way you can move forward. So that
Right. In order for you to make any progress in anything, you have to cut some weight.
yeah,
So you got to, if you were, I don't know, if you were opening up an ice cream shop, maybe it's, maybe you're not gonna, if that's your dream, right? Maybe you need to quit living in Minnesota because your ice cream season is very short, right? And you need to move to Florida, right? Because it's much longer.
I mean, who doesn't love ice cream during a snowstorm? But yes, I agree. I agree. I mean, there's so many things that I think that we just plow through and we don't really think about while we're doing it. It's like, this is not working. It has not worked. And so you're going to have many failures, many setbacks, however you
For
want to put
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes it's not, sometimes, if you're doing something on social media, maybe it's not even your message that's bad, right? Maybe it's the wrong platform. So you need to quit Facebook and go to focus on TikTok or something, right? Move out of Minnesota and go to Florida or
that's right.
pick a different thing. One of the, as mentioned in the first one, not first one, in the previous episode, like, starting a blog just wasn't the right move for me. But that never, I quit that, but then I started something else and that didn't work. I wanted to make jewelry and that didn't work, and then I wanted to make this and this and this and this, and then finally something worked. Quitting is part of the process.
It is. And it's those things that you said, you quit that and you went on to, they're the stepping stones, because you couldn't have gotten to where you were
Exactly.
before. Like, you needed those little parts, and it's
Mhm.
understanding that's part of your story, and that's okay.
And sometimes it's quitting people too, because honestly, because I think I shared this a while ago. For me personally, I was surrounded by 9 to 5 people, right? And I wanted to do this and this and this and all these different things. And I thought, I convinced myself that I was just ridiculous. I convinced myself that I was a crazy person for wanting to do all of these things. Just pick one thing and do it. And then when I started hanging out with entrepreneurs, I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
these are my people.
These are your people. I know. It's like being in a candy store, isn't it? It's like, how can you pick one?
Crazy. And crazy is good. Even if I
Right. And I saw something today about staying in your lane. It was Anna Wintour. It was she was doing a speech somewhere, I don't know where. And this really stood out to me, because she said, be curious, and don't stay in your lane. You've got to understand everything around you. No, you don't have to understand all the detail. This is all about that big picture, but you have to understand how you fit and where others fit into your business, your organization, whatever it is. And you can't just silo yourself and go, well, I'm a specialist in this, and this is what I do. I make which, because the world has changed. We've gotten a lot bigger. There's a lot more communication. People don't just want you to do one thing. They want, like you say, you're a business person. You're doing your marketing. You're doing sales, producing the product. There's all these different hats that you're wearing. You cannot just be one. And yes, you'll get specialists in, but you still have to know how that process pans out. You still have to understand it. I think that is the key, is like, if you think that you can start something and just do what you want to do and outsource everything else out, you can. But I think what will happen is you'll be worse off for it later. I think it's good to have an idea of what everything, at least, the overview of what they do and how they feed into the organization. So you do have to uh, change lanes, I guess, is what I would say.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, but
absolutely.
what happens when, so you fail and you fail again and you fail again and you fail again? What when this just keeps happening? you can sometimes feel like you're in this cycle of negativity. And I talked about this earlier. Sometimes it may feel like the universe is giving you a sign, get out. But how do you sharpen your tools to keep your head in the game? What do you suggest?
Well, you know, I have great outcomes when I remember to ask myself the following question. What if I needed these obstacles to break through it?
That's a great question.
And if I don't ask that question, because my mind is always looking for to survive, right? So if I don't ask myself that question, then the mind is going to say, oh, why does this keep happening to me? This must
Mhm.
be the wrong thing. I may be doing something wrong. This is the wrong, 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 wrong. And it convinces you that you are wrong. But if you are a little bit, a couple of steps ahead of it, and you say, what if I needed this? Right?
Mm.
What if I needed this challenge or obstacle or whatever you want to call it? Well, then the mind is also going to answer that question, right? What did I need it for? I know I needed to grow through this, or I needed to get
Right.
better at that, or sharpen
Right.
this tool, or whatever that is, right? So I feel, and most people actually will hear this and not even implement it, but I think it is the first step to stop that suffering.
Yeah, I think that's such a good question to ask yourself. And as you say, you got to remember to ask yourself that, because you can sort of get into the dumps and go, well, why is this happening to me? Um, yeah, I love that, because there's always something to be learned, even when things are continually going wrong. There's something. The other thing you can glean off other people. So when you're having those times that things are perpetually not going well for you, you can glean off people that have been there and done it. And that's something that can often put your mind at ease, because they'll tell you stories where that's happened to them and you realize that it's part and parcel. And they'll also give you really good insight into how they got out of it. Right.
Yeah,
So absorbing that having that mentorship, absorbing what people have to give. And again, choose your people wisely.
yeah.
Don't listen to
That's so
everyone.
important.
Yeah.
That is so important. But it takes so much courage to say, hey, cousin Emma, I love you. You're so important to me, but I can't hang around you anymore.
Right. You're right. You do surround yourself with the right people. That's integral in your success. If you're surrounded by the naysayers all the time, the likelihood is that you will not succeed. And like you, Alma, you have to distance yourself a little bit from it, because it's not what you need at that moment. You wouldn't ask, your Uncle Jim, who's always negative about everything, about what to do in that situation, because you know what the response is going to be. You ask someone who you trust, who you respect, who you know will give you a well-rounded response. So just be careful about who
Yeah,
you let into your headspace, especially at
yeah.
those times.
And
So,
even Rachna, even sometimes normalizing it, if somebody who's coming to me and they're just brand new on their entrepreneurial journey, and they say, oh my gosh, last month I didn't bring in a penny, right? And for me to say, hey girlfriend, listen up.
mm,
Some months will be $2,000 months. Some months will be $100,000 months.
right,
Some months will be $0 a month,
right,
and that's okay. And you'll get through it. So if she just hears that it's okay, and there's hope that some months will be a lot of
yes,
money, she feels understood, right? She feels heard. She feels seen. She feels like her experience is normal,
yeah.
and she feels safe.
Yeah. And it's not like you're not telling her lies. This is the truth of it. It's just that we get so enveloped in where we are at that particular moment. It's like we're in the swamp and we can't get out of the swamp. And that can make or break people, which,
Yes.
it's,
Absolutely. But you know what, Rachana, with that, I've, with everything, I follow Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
yeah.
And one of the basic needs is belonging. right?
Mm.
Community, tribe, whatever we want to call it. So if you don't have a new tribe, a new community, new mentor, you are going to stay connected to your old tribe because you need tribe. But if you venture out there and you find a tribe or you are a community, then it will be so much easier to let go of the people from the past.
Yeah, and we're not saying drop your friends. That's not the put. But while you're working,
Oh,
while you're focused on, well, not all of them anyway, but you choose who's going to support you through this journey, through your entrepreneurship.
right.
And it's not going to be your best friend that you meet at the pub every week. Well, it may be, but it may not be.
Likely, right?
And so you're just acquiring different friends. You're acquiring different aides, different confidants that can take you through the journey. And and so it's magical, really, because you can still meet your friends and you can still have fun on a recreational time, but then when you're talking about your business, you will lean towards those people that you have networked with, and you have a special relationship. So with that in mind, one of the things I think, because when you're going through that this tough patch, which happens, and sometimes I feel like it's seasonal, sometimes it really hits you. One of the things that I think is really helpful is to always connect yourself back to your purpose, because there was a reason. We talked about this in the first 3 episodes. There's a reason why you took the leap. There's a reason, and it came from inside here, and that's compelling. That's strong. And so often when we're feeling the hardships, we're removed from that purpose, and it's kind
Yeah.
of reconnecting back into that purpose.
Beautifully said. That is, I mean, that is it, right? There's a reason you embarked on this. In your purpose, if you're starting, I don't know, a plumbing company, that may not be your purpose, right? But what is the purpose behind the plumbing company, right? It
Mm.
is why did you do this? Sometimes it is to I don't know, provide a healthier environment for future generations. I don't know, right? It's yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and whatever that leverage is, it's kind of tapping into it, because that's going to give you the drive. It's I like it. I know you're an avid runner, and I enjoy sport, and those times where you're just winded, you think, I cannot give anymore. And all of a sudden, one person will say something, or maybe you say something to yourself, and you have that drive, you have the energy. Suddenly you've got the energy back. And
Mhm,
that's really what that tapping into the purpose, that your purpose is. And the
mhm.
more you can do it, the easier that becomes. But certainly in those times of despair where you're like, oh gosh, I've done that wrong again, and yikes, it's another month of zero. That can be critical to your success.
Absolutely. So what would we say? The top three
Mm.
things or tools that you need to overcome adversity,
Mm.
to handle those setbacks, or what? Asking yourself a good question. For
Mm.
example, what if I needed this
Yeah,
challenge?
right,
Right?
right. Yeah,
Then
that's your stepping stones, aren't they?
exactly.
Yeah,
Then surrounding yourself with the right people
that's right.
so you feel like you're in good company.
Hmm.
And if you're blessed enough or lucky enough that to have those people in your life already, beautiful. If not, choose your
Go
group.
get some.
Go get some. Exactly. Yes. Yes. And the final one, Rachel, I want you to say this.
Yeah, it's just aligning yourself to your purpose. There was
Mhm.
something that brought you here in the first place, and that was compelling. It was, we talk about so many reasons you can go something, but that's deep inside. And so when you tap into that, kind of reconnect, you will always find the strength to get back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And on purpose, sometimes you gotta dig deeper on that. Sometimes it's you gotta ask yourself, what's the purpose of this?
Hmm.
Several times, right? So maybe you are listening to us and thinking, gosh, guys, I don't know. like I said, an
Yeah.
example of plumbing company, starting a plumbing is not my purpose in life. No, but what's the purpose of that for you? And what's the
Yeah.
purpose of that for you, right? So asking yourself that question over and over and over, you will find the answer that has been hiding deep within you.
That's right. And I love the way you clarified that because I hadn't thought about it. But yes, if you're providing a service, it's often not the service. It's often deeper than that. What are you helping that person with? Really? What are you contributing in their lives? How are they going on? So it's much deeper. Ask yourself those really deep questions because once you've got that, that's like your kryptonite
Yeah.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Yes, and as usual, we would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any further questions you'd like us to answer, or just thoughts on this topic, different stories, we'd love to hear them. So please do reach out.
Yeah. And if you yourself have strategies that you are using that are beyond or in addition to these three that we just shared, please share those as well.
And share this with other people. You're not the only one going through this struggle. If you found this helpful, share this with others because the whole purpose of this is to have that honest discussion, all those questions that you're nervously sitting there and trying to figure out by yourself. This is a community, and we certainly are here, Alma and I, to support and serve.
Yes. All right. See, we'll talk to you.